Dentures. How did I get here? How did I get into full dentures? Full top, full bottom. My permanents are supposed to be here Monday instead of Saturday, so this might end up being a 2 or 3 part video because I've got a lot to say. I've had people question, like, how did you lose your teeth? How did you get to this point? Why do you have full dentures? You know, the usual questions. So I figured I can't sleep. Now is a good time to answer that question. So let's go all the way back in time, back to when I was a kid. I didn't have the best oral hygiene growing up as a kid. Occasionally somebody would tell me to brush my teeth, but it wasn't really an issue that was pushed all that often. So I didn't really brush my teeth. Quite honestly, I hated brushing my teeth. And then, I'm always thirsty, so I would take a drink of something, and the toothpaste, the minty and stuff, just altered the taste of everything, and it lasted for such a long time, and I hated it. So if I wasn't being forced to brush my teeth, I really didn't want to brush my teeth. So I didn't really take care of myself. And on top of that, growing up, I had a lot of stuff happen. Most of you probably don't know, I was raised by my great-grandparents until I was 16. And then I ended up moving just next door in with my great aunt and uncle who raised me from then on forth. So they kind of raised me together. I'd walk up and down the street to each house. My parents didn't want me. The second I was born, my mother threw me to my great-grandparents and left to go party and meet guys and stuff. She's called me a mistake, and she said that the only reason she had me in the first place was to keep her and my dad together, but it didn't work, so she didn't want me. So I had a lot of childhood trauma from that, because she would occasionally sneak back into the picture and pretend, I want to be a mom to you now. And growing up as a little kid, that really messes with your mind. And it messed with mine, and my dad didn't even bother. He never came around. He didn't try. Not at all. So, at least not that I remember. So I had a lot of childhood trauma. And it was hard growing up the way I did. Harder than a lot of people realize, because I was in the shadow of my cousin a lot. Because he was my aunt's true kid, and I'm not me. But I did end up feeling like my great-grandparents were my parents, and my uncle and aunt were my parents too. So it was like I had 2 moms and 2 dads, and I did grow up calling them mom and dad. So, but the whole childhood trauma thing, I had a lot of undiagnosed depression and anxiety as a kid. And I was bullied a lot in school as a kid, which led to more depression, more anxiety. And that took a toll on me, so I didn't want to take care of myself. I didn't want to brush my teeth. I didn't want to take showers. I didn't want to do anything. I would sit in my room all the time and read books, or I would walk up to my grandparents' house, sit on the swing set, put on my headphones with my CD player, my book bag full of CDs, and I would sing my heart out. That was my escape. Singing was my big escape, and I was pretty good at singing for a while. I was really good. My husband says I'm still good, but I'm shy to sing around people, so I'll never know. They'll never know. But anyway, that also led to bad oral hygiene, me taking care of my teeth. And then when I was about 13 or so, I was taken to one of my dentist appointments. My grandparents took me out of school, and they took me to the dentist, and I had a very traumatic experience with this dentist that still makes me hesitate to go to the dentist today. I'm deathly afraid of needles, which is ironic because I have a tattoo and I do monthly and weekly injections on myself. Figure that one out. But I'm deathly afraid of needles. At least I was back then. And when they tried to do the Novocaine, I just couldn't. I wasn't physically able. I was too afraid, and I couldn't do it. So I had a bunch of cavities that needed fillings and stuff, and they said they were going to use the gas, and they said that that would calm me down and we'd be able to do the work. So he did the gas. It made me giggle at the first, in the beginning. But then when he started working on cutting out the cavities and stuff, it hurt so bad. Like, it was absolutely terrible. And I was like screaming. I was like, stop, you gotta stop, you gotta stop, you gotta stop. This hurts too much, you can't do this. Sorry, one of my kids was up for a minute. Anyway, I was screaming for him to stop. And he just kept going, and he kept saying, just calm down, you're fine. Don't let everybody in the waiting room hear you. You're gonna scare my other clients away. And I honestly didn't care about other clients at the moment. I cared that I was in an excruciating amount of pain. I couldn't handle it. There was a drill in my mouth, and he wouldn't stop. And then when he finally got the one filling done, he got all his tools out of my mouth. And I told him, you can't do anymore. I can't do this. It hurts too much. The gas isn't helping. And he looked at my grandmother, and he told her, I can't work with her. Don't bring her back here. So they never bothered finding me another dentist, which at the time I didn't care. So I still had a lot of cavities that needed fillings and stuff, and I had the occasional toothache once in a while, but it wasn't enough to really bother me. I mean, I could still eat and everything just fine. So from the ages of 13 to, let me think, 18, I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't use mouthwash, I didn't floss, I didn't do anything, but I just had the occasional toothache. I didn't realize how bad my teeth were getting, and I just kind of let it go, because I could still eat. I could still smile okay. I was self-conscious of my smile. I was missing a couple teeth by the time I was 18, but nothing that made me not want to smile. And then at 18, I met my soon-to-be husband, and it kind of just skyrocketed and went downhill from there. So when I met my husband, the first year we lived together. Not long after we started dating, we moved in together at my grandparents' house. We lived upstairs in an upstairs bedroom. And my teeth got really bad, like so bad. It was excruciating pain and misery, and I had abscesses. My face was swollen. My teeth were breaking. They were brittle. They were falling out. I was going through so much Orajel just trying to stop the pain. I was taking Tylenol and stuff all the time. I couldn't sleep. I was up all night in excruciating, agonizing pain. And it got to the point I was taking Tylenol PM, and it would knock me out for about an hour, and then I'd get up and I would take more Tylenol PM, and I was like taking it like candy at that point, just trying to get any sleep I could get. And I was taking aspirin, and I was crushing it up, mixing it with the Tylenol, pushing it into the infected areas, into the cavities themselves, hoping that it would just dissolve in there and stop some of the pain. And it was misery. And I eventually found out the only thing that helped, really, was cold ice water. So I would go to bed, and I'd have a bucket next to the bed. My husband would be sleeping, and all night I would take a swig of the cold water, hold it on the teeth that hurt, and then spit it in the bucket. And then it would give me a few seconds of reprieve, and I would just kind of just do that over and over again until eventually I passed out from exhaustion. And then I would wake up and do that process all over again and repeat the cycle all night, over and over and over and over. And it was misery. Let's go to part 2 for the rest.